but I was getting the coupe ready to finish the wiring. I just really haven't worked on it. All the wiring was kind of in a bag and kind of just threw out the car. It's almost done. I just need to finish up a few random things. I need to find my power probe, so I'm gonna probably try to do that tomorrow. And then I kind of just have to button up kind of some of this wiring. So I also need to find my soldering iron. But mostly all I have left to do is integrate the timing circuit for the door locks and the lights and everything, and like just kind of connect some of these wires and situate this whole, this used to be the fuse panel that was in there. Right now I'm just getting it all connected and make sure everything's gonna work. I just need to verify that everything works, and then I'm gonna put the other fuse panel, which I showed you before. It's kind of buried in the trunk, but it's that Busman fuse box with circuit breakers instead of fuses. And it's really small, it's like that big. So it pretty much just is gonna go right there in the corner, kind of right here where all this wiring is. I already made like a little bracket to hold it in. And it won't sit in the, it won't sit in here. It will sit flush right here because the quarter panel or the interior trim cover kind of covers it right here. And it'll just kind of be right there. And, you know, it's not that difficult to remove. And, you know, you really don't need to get to fuses unless you overload a circuit and it pops a breaker or something like that. So I'm not really worried about it being behind that panel and being covered, because it won't, you really need to get to fuses and stuff like that unless you do something that you're not supposed to be doing. So, oh, another thing I need to wire in is the AC. I wasn't gonna run AC in this in the beginning when I first put everything in, and then I decided recently that I'm gonna put the AC compressor on here, and then when I do the dry sump and everything, I need to order something that's AC compatible. And then I also need to run lines, and I'll put the AC condenser back in. So I won't have a car that, I don't know, I'm just kind of getting older, I think, and I like AC. I also did a little bit of sanding to the roof. There are a few little hail dents and stuff like that I need to fix. And this little thing right here, I'll probably weld a stud on there and give it a little pull. But otherwise, this side is pretty straight. It needs a little push right there. I need to just get in there and push that out. This door is discolored because my dad backed into it. So I had to go to the junkyard and get a door. And then otherwise, the body's pretty straight. I'm probably gonna end up replacing this quarter when I paint it, because you can see that somebody did some previous sculpting. Michelangelo, you know, came in here and did some body work. But yeah, I think I don't know, I might be able to fix this quarter. It doesn't look, actually, no, I'll just replace it. So I actually have a quarter, just, you know, spare parts. Don't get rid of them, keep them. Yeah, so replace that quarter, get this thing running, make sure all that wiring is good. I know that all the headlight stuff works and the turn signals and lights. I just need to verify like the AC will work and there isn't any like random little issues before I do wire in the Busman fuse box and relay box. So then I need to put this drive shaft in. So yeah, I mean, it's coming together. I just wanted to kind of get everything, because, you know, when wires are all tangled up, it's kind of a pain. So I'm gonna do a video of finishing wiring that up. Okay, so I was pretty excited. I wasn't exactly sure where I put the rest of the wiring harness for the 240 and the notes that I took down. So here's like the rear taillight harness that I was looking for, and then all the other stuff. So I decided I'm gonna put AC back in it. So this is the bag full of all the heater control and climate control stuff. So definitely gonna put that back in. Before I was like, oh, I'm gonna make it in a drift car and I'll drive it on the street. And now I'm pretty much just gonna drive it on the street, maybe drift it a little bit, and I want AC and everything. So yeah, I mean, when I do wiring, I pretty much label everything. So I have notes. I could do it without the notes because I have the factory FSM with the electrical manual. So all you have to do is follow the diagrams. But pretty much all I need to do is put all that wiring right there. Well, most of that wiring back in. This wiring that's already in here is pretty much where it needs to be. Some of the stuff will be shortened up and some of it will be lengthened. The good thing about factory 240 wiring harnesses is the S13 and S14. I've never messed with an S15, but there's so much extra wire that you don't really have to extend wires that far. The only wire that I had to extend, because the starter is on this passenger, so the starter signal wire I ran directly from the ignition switch, because before it goes through the clutch pedal and all that other stuff. You don't need, in Canada there's actually a diagram to how to run it, so that's exactly how I ran it for the starter system. Well, not the starter system, but just the signal. And pretty much that's what I'm doing. I'm just kind of tucking the harness, but I'm tucking it in a way so it's actually very efficient. So the house project is pretty much finished. I mean, it's like 99.9% done. I had a spare door down in the basement, and I took the hardware off of it so I can actually finish the 2 plates they lost and 2 knobs they lost. So I took those to the powder coater, and now they should be done at the end of the week. So other than that, the house is pretty much done. I'm gonna do those and then I'll clean everything up. It's not really dirty, it just is a little bit dusty. The floor's a little bit dusty, but everything else is done. So I tiled the bathroom and did like a new toilet a while ago. This was like a sink that we put in when I first moved in, and it was still fine, so I just put a new faucet on it. But then this is all the stuff that got powder coated. So all this hardware is new, and I think everything came out really well. So this was like the spare bedroom, and it has like a closet, and there's like hardware on those drawers that are powder coated, and there's like the office over here. You can get to it through my room, and this was like my room before, but when I lived here, every time I like did the like clean the floor, it smelled like cigarettes or something. I don't know, it was weird, or like glue, because there was like linoleum on the floor, and so like when it got wet, it smelled really weird. So now the floors are finished. As you guys, if you haven't watched the video, I finished the floors in here a few months, like I don't know, 1 or 2 months back, and everything. So the floors came out really nice. Here's the office and everything. All the hardware was powder coated for that, so it made it look really nice again, and it's all the original old stuff. So yeah, I think this house came out really nice for the you know, the first house project that I've ever had, and this is one of the knobs that are missing, so I'll have that for from the powder coater in like Friday. And then what else? So here's like the living room. It would be a lot bigger if it didn't have these things. They're like bookshelves, but it's like an old house, so they look a lot, I don't know, it kind of brings the house together, but there would be a big, larger living room if they weren't there. And they look nice. And then this is like fireplace was all like messed up, and I kind of fixed it. And you know, now the fireplace works. It didn't have a mantle. This wood mantle I got from up in Denver. It says like 1904 on the back of it. It has like a little plaque, but I got that from a house in Denver off of Craigslist and put it in here because before there was like river rocks that were surrounding it that were all like mortared in almost. And then they before when I got the house, everything was like white, and it looked like they just like laid on a thick coat of white. So like the rocks were all white, and it just like looked really bad, and it was I don't know, it was kind of, there wasn't like any damper or anything in the fireplace because they kind of messed it up, I think, when it got foreclosed on, because it was a foreclosure. And then I put this like marble tile down a couple of months ago. And so yeah, and then the living room, and then this sunroom I just got done painting. So it was like this green color right there. I just left the bricks that color because the only reason I painted it was because I have, my realtor said it's better to cover up like chipping paint and stuff, just so the loans and like everything with loans, if there's chipping paint, you have to do it. So I did it now instead of having to do it later. So I painted it all white, and it looks a lot better than it did green. I also had the same stuff that I use on my porch. I painted the floor white, so it makes it look really clean. I did the same thing with the stairs going down the basement, I'll show you. And then here's the kitchen. Like I said, I need to clean a little bit of stuff up, but it's not that dirty. There's a little bit of dust and stuff, but I'll clean all that stuff off the countertop now that I'm done with it, and done painting and everything. And yeah, so the kitchen was really nice. I just really updated appliances and stuff because, and cabinets, but yeah, that came out really nice. And then out here, I pretty much just tiled it. There used to be like this weird like room right here, because I think at one point in time, this house was like, didn't have a basement. So what I think happened was they added the basement on, they added this room, and this used to be like the outside wall, is what I think happened. And then they added this like part, this room, but there was like a bricked in like thing right here. And it was like a creepy closet. You could see where the old light was for the closet, but you can see like that little spot right there was like a closet. It was really weird. It made this like super tight. The bricks came out to like right here. So you had like this little tiny path to walk down. And so I pretty much just took that little brick thing out, and then it was like plywood up to the ceiling. I don't know, it was weird. So I took that out, I put this in. It's just like a railing thing. I think it looks really nice. And then I did the tile, but I wasn't really worried about doing the drywall and stuff because, I don't know, it really, you know, if I actually drywalled this room, I would replace the windows, because these windows are like, I think they're held in by like this foam, and I was like, nah, I don't want to buy windows for this. I don't want to put any more money in it, so I just left these windows. They're not like hurting anything. They're just, you know, if I wanted to drywall this, I'd have to frame it, and I'd put new windows in and do that. But I did put this door in. Well, I didn't put this door in. So this sketchy guy that my dad knows, that like stole money from him, put this door in, but he did like a really bad job. So, I mean, it opens and closes, but you can see there's like on the bottom, there's like a little gap. Not like a gap, but you can like see light through it. I put this door in. I got this door from Home Depot for, no, Lowe's, for $100. It was like returned. It has like the blinds inside of it. It's really like, it's like $1,000 door, I think, or like $500 to $1,000 for these when they're new. And I got it for $100. I put it in, put some, you know, expanding foam in there just so there wasn't any issues. And it fit really well. I made it fit really tight, and it closes really nice. So, I mean, it like is very sealed. There's no gaps on that, and it's like straight. Other, like that door over there, it's not that straight. So other than that, I mean, lots of just random easy stuff I did to this house. I don't really want to walk down to the basement because I have my shoes on and they're dirty. But I painted these stairs white, just like the other thing. And this wall, I painted it white because it was green, just like that. And I fixed the stairs, they're kind of messed up. But did that, did it white, and you can see I robbed that doorknob to the basement because it doesn't matter. And yeah, so I did that. Pretty much just, you know, did really easy stuff to it. Yeah, well, I mean, the floors, they were not really easy, but they came out really nice, and the time I spent on them was a little bit longer than I wanted to, but the results that I got with all that time I spent on it was well worth the time. So I'm glad how the house turned out and everything. I'm glad the project is over. Just like really little things, just putting those knobs and stuff on isn't really anything. So now I'm gonna kind of get back to car stuff. I have been working on a lot of designing stuff for the past week, and some other projects. So I just need to upload the videos and you know, and that kind of stuff. But I'm just glad this project's done, and all I have to really do is like clean some stuff, and just like clean the floors and clean like the kitchen, and probably like wipe down the countertops. But just happy because now I could like work on car projects and kind of just start to think about how I'm going to build my shop house, kind of start planning it out, and go from there. So I don't know. I'm just stoked that this is done, and now I just have to wait for somebody to buy it. So you know, that's a whole process in itself. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate the taillight harness since I'm routing it a different way. And normal 240, the fuel pump's right here, the wiring harness comes up, comes around, goes this way, goes in through the by the back seat, and then goes into the super multiple junction. Goes in by the back seat, goes to the super multiple junction. Since the fuse box is going to be here, I'm going to come this way from the side marker, driver's side tail light, the lights for the license plate, passenger side tail light, marker, then up and into the fuse box, and do it that way instead. So there won't be any wires going that way really. Actually, I don't think there will be any because I'm not going to run the third brake tail light. Probably didn't notice in the time lapse, but what I was doing, I depinned the tail lights. So since I'm swapping how the wiring's routed, this used to be the driver's side, now it is the passenger side, and the reason for that is the harness on the driver's side was shorter, as you can see, compared to all the passenger side. It was a lot longer, just because the fact that the harness doesn't have to go as far when it's factory because it runs along the driver's side. Well, now since it's running along the passenger side, I just needed to flip that, and all I had to do was swap. The only difference between the tail light harnesses is the turn signals. So I just swapped the turn signal wire from each side, and now I can have it so the shorter one is on the passenger side, the longer one is on the driver's side. So I'm going to put all those in really quick. Alright, so I'm done with messing with the wiring on the car today. I pretty much routed all the taillight stuff and the side markers in the rear. I need to, so one thing I want to do is I want to have the trunk pop instead of on this cable. I want to have it on an actual actuator, and the same with the fuel door, because you know that cable usually they go bad. They go bad a lot more in hatches than coupes, but the cable that's in this right now is bad, and I'd rather do that. So I'll just wire it in. It's literally one wire. There's a ground, and then there's the signal wire coming from a switch that I'll put on the dash, or not on the dash, but I'll just replace one of the like the stock spaces with a little Maxima switch. I'll kind of integrate it somehow, and then have that, and then have one for the fuel door, and what else? So yeah, I need some zip ties so I could kind of tie these wires up, and then I could solder them together, and then later I will wrap them in Raychem DR25. I do really like Raychem. I used it a lot at Cummins. They didn't even like know about it until I told one of the guys in the UK they had water ingress issues, and I was like, hey, try this out. I use it on my car harnesses all the time, and then they're like, he was amazed, and now they use it. So yeah, I need to pretty much zip tie that. Okay, so I pretty much have been wiring the 240 up. Didn't get really that far. The taillight harness is pretty much situated where I want it to be. Other than that, I cleaned out the car. My dad backed in this door, I don't know, it was like a couple of years ago. No, it was like a year ago. And pretty much shattered the glass. He wasn't paying attention. It didn't damage anything other than the door, so I got a new one, well, a used one from the salvage yard. And I just vacuumed all the glass that was just like all over the place in here. I don't have a windshield because Jesse, I let him use it because he needed one for the drift event, and his was cracked. There wasn't a way to get glass in time, so pulled the one out here, and he just needs to get me a new one sooner or later. Probably I'll wait till this thing's running and actually driving to put a new glass in it. And then yeah, so now it's all cleaned up. There isn't a bunch of glass all over the floor. It'll make it a lot easier to actually work on and do wiring. I was messing with the speaker wiring and kind of getting that in the harness, but I was kind of disgusted with how much glass was in here, and I was tired of it, so I vacuumed it up. And yeah, I haven't showed you guys this, but I really like this shifter. It's a MGW, so can't wait to actually drive this thing with it. I guess they're supposed to be like the best T56 shifter. So yeah, I just need to work on this thing a little bit more. Well, a lot of bit more, but it's actually coming together. So once all this wiring is done, I need to put a diff in it, put the carbon fiber drive shaft in it, find my mega squirt and wire that up in it, and then once it runs and drives, I need to definitely, what I'm going to do is pull this glass. I need to, you can see somebody cut larger holes for the speakers, so I'm going to replace that piece of metal with another one, like out of a car, and then that quarter panel. So you know, I just want to get this thing wired up so all the turn signals, lights, AC, all that electric stuff works. I'm going to probably end up, I'm kind of in a debate. I want to put one of those NX 1600 clusters in here. I also want to put the digital climate control out of the Sylvia in here, and the power folding mirrors, just to do it. Not because, you know, it needs to be done or it makes the car faster. You know, it's just something I really want, just because, you know, it's kind of cool. That's gonna be it for this video. Comment below, subscribe if you're not subscribed, click that bell just so you get notifications when I post new videos. I am glad that I finally finished my house project. So thanks for watching, and See you next time.